Stranger Things wasn't just a show, it was a decade-defining event. A love letter to the 80s, a launchpad for child stars, and for a while, it was the clearest proof that we had that Netflix actually knew what it was doing. And now, people are calling the series finale one of the worst endings in TV history, right up there with Game of Thrones. It was rushed, safe, predictable. But what if that reaction is exactly the point? Because we've seen this before, studios lying straight to our faces. Spider-Man No Way Home told us Andrew Garfield wasn't even in the movie.
There's a photo going around on the set of Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie.
Not sure about that.
Until he was standing right there on screen. So what if Stranger Things is doing the same thing? What if the bad ending isn't bad at all? What if it's a setup? And more importantly, what if our collective outrage isn't organic, but conformity in real time? First of all, I want to explain what people are saying the Conformity Gate is. It's a theory that Vecna is controlling the story without the characters even realizing it. Their lives are all conforming to societal norms, despite it being the opposite of the show's theme. All throughout the series, the characters are seen to be rebellious, to not follow the rules, and to do what they feel is right. It indicates that the world of Hawkins we see in the epilogue is actually just an illusion. Before we even talk about why Stranger Things might be lying to us, we have to talk about the evidence. Because this theory didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't one Reddit post or one Reachy TikTok. It's hundreds of fans all noticing the same things. I first want to walk through all the proof the community has already collected. Things that just don't feel like bad writing, but intentional misdirection. Because these theories aren't making us feel like Joyce with the lights for no reason. Because when you lined up everything the fandom has found, timelines don't match, character reactions don't track, and everything just seems out of place. And before we actually start dissecting the actual show, we have to head over to the Instagram bio of Stranger Things, where in their Instagram bio, it says Hawkins class of 87, when we know for a fact that at the end of season 4, 87 was the time they were in, the time where Eddie was going to graduate. But in the epilogue, we're shown that they're supposed to be the class of 89. Why would they make an intentional error on their official bio of their Instagram? Just doesn't seem like the Duffer Brothers. Moving into the graduation, we can see in a big panoramic shot, all the students have their hands in their lap, sort of like how Henry has his hands in his lap all the time, and how all the people under his control always have their hands together. In the background, there's a big yellow sign with no words on it, almost like someone's misremembering something. Before the graduation, it had shown us Steve coaching his baseball game, even though we know for a fact he had always played basketball. And in a certain clip, it shows that he was a swim team captain.
Unless one of you three can top being a Hawkins High swim co-captain and a certified lifeguard for 3 years then.
But never once did he ever mention anything about baseball. We can also see a lot of the students actually staring into the camera, almost like they're breaking the fourth wall, and most notably this boy in the front, who when everyone is celebrating, decides to stay sitting. A lot of people bring up the sunglasses as well. But to me, this seems normal. It's an outdoor graduation, it's going to be sunny. And there are even more plot holes scattered throughout the entire season, but I'm mainly going to cover the biggest ones that, for some reason, I can't think of a reason these characters would ever mess these things up. One of the most important plot holes I had noticed was when Joyce was talking to Will outside of the barn. She says this.
What kind of mother doesn't check on their 11-year-old boy?
But we know for a fact Will had actually disappeared when he was 12. How do you not remember the age when your boy disappeared or how long he was actually gone? I don't know, that just seems like something I would never forget personally. Another callback to previous season is the Vecna Lives clip, where when they're playing D&D in season 4 with Eddie, he says this.
There is one you do not recognize. His skin shriveled. He is not only missing his left arm, but his left eye.
And we see in the final scene when Joyce decapitates Vecna, his left arm is missing in the final episode, as well as his eye. And the last major one I found to be one of the most crucial points about how this whole theory is all in Mike's imagination is the tower scene. When Mike climbs up the tower, with him and the other 8, remember, there's 9 people total. He climbs this exact same ladder 3 times in 3 different shots. While this might be an editing error, look how in every single shot, it's actually a different angle. Characters are in different spots and doing different actions. So this wasn't all in one go. These are 3 intentional different shots. But what confuses me the most about this shot, and what I think most people are not looking into, is that when it goes into the overhead shot of them all on the tower, Mike suddenly disappears in the middle of it. Remember, I said there was 9 of them up there, and randomly it just goes to 8. Here we can individually point out who's up there, and Mike isn't one of them. Finally, I want to point out the basement scene. It's a scene most people bring up, but I think it has less weight than people think in a different way. Most people here bring up the looks and how the characters start to look like their parents, almost like they're conforming to society. Mike begins to look like his dad, although some people say he looks like Henry. Acts in this specific scene resembles how Billy acted when he was infuriated. And in Mike's vision of Will, he looks exactly like Lonnie, smoking cigarettes and wearing this leather jacket. Also in this scene, we can see glowing lights in the background similar to the ones that were in season 1. And the major thing that most people point out about this is that in the second showing of episode 8, they actually changed the order of the books to say X, A, lie. Most people speculate this is a direct nod to us, to show us that this whole series, and epilogue as of now, is a total lie. And finally, the most important part about this whole thing is their D&D campaign. And if you think about it, Season 1's campaign mirrors Season 5's story exactly the same. From Mike directly, we're told that the whole campaign was 10 hours long. Everyone is disappointed, much like us, the audience, and Dustin even says it's full of plot holes and that it was too short.
How was I supposed to know it was going to take 10 hours? Yeah, man, the campaign was way too short. It was 10 hours!
But it doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense.
Oh, no. What about the Lost Night?
And the Proud Princess? And those weird flowers in the cave? I don't know.
The exact reaction we're all having right now. Keep in mind that D&D has been the backbone of the entire show for the entirety of the series. I'm going to come back to this point because I think it's the biggest point most people are missing. I'm going to get out of the show for a little and actually make 2 major points of how the Conformity Gate could actually be proven. And as of recording this, we actually had 2 new major breakthroughs in this theory. There's a hidden message on the WSGK flashlight, and if you actually see here, when we enhance it from the background, it clearly says Vecna lives. On top of this, the official Netflix account has actually posted relating to the Conformity Gate theory. And as you can see on the screenshot, it clearly says #what's next, the trending hashtag for the Conformity Gate theory, and then it gives us the date, January 7th, 2026. The ending of Stranger Things feels bad because it wasn't meant to feel complete. And the reason for that is simple. Vecna and the Mind Flayer are not the final villains. They are the intermediaries. There's a third higher entity operating behind everything, one rooted deeply in Dungeons and Dragons lore, and the show has been signaling this since season 1. The Razadun, also known as the Chained God. The Razadun is not a typical evil god. He doesn't want power, control, or dominion over realms. He wants total annihilation of existence, including himself. He was imprisoned eons ago because even he was too dangerous for other gods. Despite being imprisoned, he still has influence, he still has followers, and many of those followers don't know they're serving him because he hides behind other gods, beings, and forces. His domains include eternal darkness, decay and entropy, madness, mistruth, and malign knowledge, and the cold. His holy symbols include dark spirals, a 2-tiered inverted ziggurat, fractal spirals, and fractal spirals emerging from spirals. His form, a pitch black rolling cloud-like mass, which aligns visually with the Upside Down and the Mind Flayer. So what was Vecna's role in this? Vecna's main role was misdirection. In official D&D modules, including Vecna is called the Maimed Lord. But within the same text, the plot revolves around freeing the Chained God. Followers believe they're serving Vecna, but unknowingly advancing Therazadun's release. This mirrors Stranger Things perfectly. Vecna believes he's in control. The Mind Flayer acts as a hive mind, but both may be tools, not the actual masterminds. This explains why we feel that Vecna feels narratively insufficient as a final villain. Next, we want to go into how 11 was the intended vessel. This theory argues that 11 was created to be Therazadun's avatar on the material plane. Some key parallels we can make to D&D is that gods in D&D cannot exist physically without a vessel. 11 is a test subject 11. Therazadun's divine rank is 11. Her void is described as endless, lightless, boundless, matching eternal darkness. And some additional symbolism we can use to conclude this is that Therazadun is associated with cold. 11, since the beginning, unknowingly likes cold things. When they go to Starcourt Mall, she has a slushie and an ice cream in the same day, both reflecting cold imagery. And her first autonomous act, also in Starcourt Mall, was her picking clothes that have chaotic fractal-like patterns on them. Finally, in the background, we can hear Material Girl playing, while she visually resembles Therazadun's fractal holy symbol, implying she was his material form. Lastly, we can make a major connection to Terry Ives, and how she mirrors a D&D story involving a pregnant woman meant to birth a god. Both of them had memory loss, madness, repetition, and a forgotten dead husband, which strongly parallels Therazadun's vessel lore. And I want to go deeper into the imagery behind the fractals, the spirals, and the visual language found throughout this entire show. Fractal and spiral imagery appears constantly throughout. Nancy's chemistry homework, rock formations shown in season 5 resembling the fractal spirals, sunflower imagery referenced by Terry, and how sunflowers directly show the Fibonacci sequence, an endless number of spirals, the merry-go-round spinning imagery, and in the epilogue, Max's skateboard design, showing the fractals again. All of these visually align with the Razadon's spiral-based icons. So how does this actually relate to the story? Firstly, let's go with the relationship to Will, Mike, and the false god. Will is positioned as the true creator. Will creates exotic matter in his painting, similar to what's found in Season 5, which implies that he has godlike or demigod creation powers, which may suggest that Will may have created the Upside Down, consciously or not. And Mike is often framed as a paladin, with his shield and sword imagery, and this is an important note because paladins often draw powers from their god. Over time, though we see in sketches, Mike's sword flips upside down, it loses its flame, and his shield becomes obscured. In D&D, worshipping a false god weakens a paladin. This theory suggests that Mike has unknowingly worshipped a false god, the Razadon via 11, and his powers are weakened as a result, showing us why his campaign failed this season, and his true source of strength has always been Will, when he acts with love and honesty. This is why the ending of Stranger Things feels incomplete. The true antagonist has not been revealed yet. The show has purposely been guiding the audience to a false consensus. Vecna is not the endgame. He's just the distraction. The Razadon, the god of entropy and eternal darkness, has been present since the beginning, and Season 5 is about the consequences of nearly freeing him.